Podcast and live stream recording here for Friday's 14 game main slate. James, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. 14 games to end the week. Here we are. We've made it. Big slate, which has been the trend all week long. Big slate on Tuesday, big slate on Wednesday, a bigger slate than usual on Thursday. 14 games here on a Friday to finish it out.
Yeah, I think baseball is super happy that sports were ending. And now they're just like, you know what? Let's just shove all of our games in front of all the audience that just lost hockey and basketball in the same week. I think that was literally probably the schedule makers, right? Like early in the year, just like, all right, NBA Finals probably ends right here. Let's just put a lot of baseball this
just
week.
Stack
Yeah.
all these games up.
And still no one's going to watch. Except our loyal fans here at Fantasy Alarm Better Sports Network. They're going to watch. And even if they don't, they're still going to watch us, John, and watch our content breaking down the 14-game slate. And why don't we just jump into it? Because we have 14 games. And I agree, sentiment, TGIF. I like that one. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah. I like that one quite a bit.
Are you too young for that, or do you remember the TGIF days?
Like the restaurant?
No, there was a whole like TV promotional thing. It was like TGIF, thank God it's Fridays, and they used to have a whole bunch of like TV shows on at night. And it was like the TGIF Friday night video show. You're younger than me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Those who are watching, I'm sure they remember the TGIF nights. You know,
TGIF is
the TGI Fridays also, yes, a restaurant.
Yes, first date with my now wife.
It's average at best. I'm sorry to say.
First date I took my wife to. Yeah.
Did you use gift cards and coupons, or like what was the?
No, I mean should have. I was in college, so we should. Right. Should have. Yeah. Let's just jump into the odds. Enough about TGIF, even though we are TGIF. Let's look at the biggest favorites we have, because again, 14 games. Not going to spend all this time. Minus 195 is Houston at home against Cincinnati. The Los Angeles I almost called them Lakers. Los Angeles Angels minus 155 on the road, taking on the Kansas City Royals. Biggest favorite on the board looks to be the Atlanta Braves, minus 250. They are hosting the Colorado Rockies once again. That matchup is going to be very interesting. Also, I see some conflicting reports here, John. Maybe we should do some research. I see Dinelson Lamet on DraftKings. The other place I'm looking currently has Peter Lambert. So I guess we'll have to take a look to see what is correct. Maybe MLB.com. I'll take a look over there to see. But those are the biggest. San Diego Quintana and the Miami Marlins minus 180. That's another big favorite. They're on the road actually minus 180. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Going up against Washington, too, which is not generally an easy matchup. So
yeah, well, the Marlins are, even though they're like minus 40 in run differential, like 10 games over 500, and they've had their best start since the year they won the World Series.
And their best pitcher is terrible.
Their worst pitcher.
Their worst pitcher.
Their best pitcher is the worst pitcher.
Last year's Cy Young Award winner is the worst pitcher.
Yep, and their best pitcher this year is not going to be on the team for much longer because he's on innings limit. Let's go over to the over-unders. 10 implied runs right off the bat in Colorado, Atlanta. No surprise there. That game had a lot of runs scored on Thursday. 9.5 implied in the Red Sox-Yankees game. Domingo Germán versus Tanner Houck. We got 9 implied runs, Pittsburgh-Milwaukee. 9.5 in Angels-Royals. And that's really it. And that will wrap it up for the Las Vegas preview here, John.
Sure. When we're looking at weather here, it is going to start raining up the East Coast here. So we have some rain in New York, the Mets versus St. Louis. So that's something we're going to have to pay attention to. Rain in Boston's not going to come till later on in the evening. So there really shouldn't be anything too worrisome. With the pitch clock and all the new rule changes, we aren't getting 4-hour Red Sox Yankee games anymore. So this one should be done by the time the rain gets to Boston. Saturday's game could be a complete washout. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that one in here. But rest of the slate looks pretty good here for weather. So, James, that being said, we got 14 games to talk about, which means probably got a handful of pitchers at least that we're looking to play. Talk to me about your favorites.
Yeah, just confirm Dinelson Lamet, according to MLB.com, is starting. So I don't know what.
That's good news for us because we want
to. Very good news for us, and it's So top pitchers today, I like Joe Ryan. Now, you brought it up before we hopped on this podcast that Joe Ryan's pitch counts have obviously kind of
Yep.
fizzled out, and we saw that same thing happen with Sonny Gray on Thursday, where they took him out of 79 pitches, and I think Minnesota is just kind of maybe preserving starters for later in the year, especially Sonny Gray, who's been oft injured. Joe Ryan probably never gonna have a workload that he's on pace to have this year. So definitely something to monitor, but the spot is elite. It's as good as it gets against Detroit. I know Detroit did have a good game on Thursday, but that is not as frequent as the bad games that they typically have. If you don't want to play Joe Ryan, I think pivoting to Zach Gallen is perfectly fine. I know Zach Gallen has actually had a couple of rocky starts after, going through that incredible historic stretch of 4 straight scoreless games. But he is still an elite pitcher. We've seen 27 or more fantasy points. I mean, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
6 times this year. And he takes on a Cleveland offense that clearly has better results against lefties. I think that is something that you and I have come to just agree on. Like, they can't hit righties, but they
Yeah.
do have some crooked numbers against lefties of late. And then my third pitcher up here, I like Michael Kopech. Seattle's offense is still just middle of the pack, and Michael Kopech's still really pitching well.
Yeah.
His worst start recently was 4 1/3 against the Angels, where he struggled early in that game. He gave up runs right off the bat. He had 10 strikeouts in that game that still covered up his poor outing, and
Yeah.
102 pitches in 4 1/3. And we've talked about this a bunch this year, where guys who strike arm people out are just the infinite better plays on DraftKings, even than guys who may even if Kopech went 5 innings and gave us 9 strikeouts,
Yeah.
that's okay, and didn't give up more than 2 runs. You'd be okay with that start because the 9 strikeouts are what really makes a dent in the DraftKings scoring. So I like Michael Kopech 9,300 going up against the Mariners offense, still ranking in the bottom 10 against right-handed pitching across almost every category. And we know that they're a team that also strikes out a bunch against righties as well.
Yeah, I really don't have much to argue with you when it comes to those guys. I liked Gallen and Kopech as my two favorite here. Obviously, Ryan, given his pedigree, should be considered. But his recent pitching performances and the Minnesota's recent usage of their starters certainly has me a little bit concerned to pay 10-6 on a big slate like
Right.
this. I also like some guys down here in the mid tier, and they're opposing one another. We've been waiting for Julio Teheran to fall off a cliff. Some of the numbers suggest it could be happening soon. So you can certainly take a look there and go in that direction. But at the value, Rich Hill's down here still pitching
Right.
some pretty good games, and we've been throwing lefties against Milwaukee all season long. Now they have some guys that have started to come around a little bit against Southpaws, but still, Hill's got a decent strikeout rate of late. I kind of think he's a good value play on this slate down here.
He was good. We liked him on
Yeah, I like them on the
last
Thursday slate till they moved him,
on the
and now he's
Thursday
got a
slate,
better matchup. So
and now he's in an infinitely better matchup, right? Definitely, because on Thursday it was Machado Tatis that he was going up against, and
right.
now it's
Yeah, we weren't even
or
considering him for the
no,
Thursday
was it?
slate.
No, the Cubs.
Cubs,
Sorry, it was
right.
the Cubs. But the Cubs still hit lefties pretty well, where Milwaukee just doesn't, in any capacity, hit lefties well.
Right.
None, zero, zilch. Worst offense in baseball against lefties. I like Rich Hill. I think that's a good value call. Julio Teheran, you know, guess it is what it is, right?
A
Other
couple,
than that,
I mean, 3 starts, right? 4 star sample size now at this
or
point,
yeah,
where he's been
yeah,
good. So
yeah, and other than the anomaly, seemingly strikeout game where he had 0 against Toronto, he's had 5 or more in the other 3 starts. So,
yeah,
yeah, I can get there.
and also good on Julio Teheran, man. Like
Yeah,
we
good
were
on Julio Teheran.
skeptical when he came in the league, and
Oh yeah,
San Francisco, Toronto, Cincinnati, the hottest team in baseball, Oakland, just coming down and shutting them down here. So, yeah, I think he could be, he's obviously a little bit more expensive, but I think it was going to be an interesting spot in the mid tier range. Anybody else for you at pitching tonight?
yeah. Taiwan Walker, I'm gonna get to. He's coming off one of his better starts, and I know Oakland has been better. I'm granting you that and everyone that. Taiwan Walker's also been better. 13 straight scoreless innings, including 5 innings against the Dodgers that he fired scoreless against. We know Philly's offense has been better. He's allowed 3 earned runs or less in 5 consecutive starts and 7 of his last 8 overall. So Taijuan Walker kind of turning the corner here. We know Oakland's the worst hitting team against, well, second now worst hitting team against righties, and they have a 25% strikeout rate, which is also the second highest mark in the league. So I like Taijuan Walker, and I like Brian Wu a little bit here, John. Starting for the Mariners here, and I know that I'm using or suggesting a starter against him in the White Sox. And listen, the White Sox have been a little bit better with Eloy Jimenez in the lineup this year, no doubt. But Wu making his second start, his first start went terribly. Let's just
Yeah.
look at that. Wait, that happens against Texas, right? Texas is a very good offense. So are the Angels at times, and Brian Wu had 7 strikeouts over 4 and 2/3 innings. Now he went 81 pitches, not the best, but he's 5,400. He got called up from Double A prior to this, so he has no Triple A experience, and we've seen this a couple times this year with guys getting straight called up with a lot of success. Yuri Perez, Smith Shaver for the Braves had another good start on Thursday and 18 fantasy points. And Brian Wu at Double A this year, 59 strikeouts in 44 innings. He's a good strikeout arm. The White Sox are just kind of like a middling offense overall. 665 team OPS against right-handed pitching this year. That's 27th. 147 ISO against righties, despite having like good power hitters. That's 21st. So
Mhm.
I kind of like Brian Wu as like a sneaky SP2 on this slate, especially if we're going to see the pitch count. I don't even know if the first game was a pitch count related issue. He just got
Right.
shelled. And then the second start, 4 and 2/3, maybe he ran into trouble and they took him out. But 17 and a half fantasy points at, again, he's $5,400 on this slate. I'd be more than okay with that amount of fantasy points at $5,400.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe the only other dart throw I'd be willing just to kind of bring out is Sears. Philly striking out at a very high clip against left-handed pitching on the year. They hit for power against left-handed pitching. Sears gives up home runs, so that could be an issue for him. But he does miss bats, and Philly, a lot of lefties in their lineup. So just dart throw material, just putting it out there because we've used Sears a few times
Yep.
this year. So. Let's move on over to hitters here, James. Talk about your favorite hitters on the night.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go right back to Atlanta here. They were popular on Thursday, and it paid off. They scored 9 runs. 9 runs, right? 8 runs. 8 runs on Thursday. They looked good. They hit a bunch of home runs. One of the home runs that left the yard, Matt Olson. Soon as a righty came in, he homers off them. Getting a righty in Lamet, who has struggled mightily with left-handed pitching specifically, or left-handed hitters specifically. So I like him. I like Austin Riley to have a bounce back. He's been hitting righties better as the year has progressed. And we talk about that. Like, he struggled against righties to begin the year, but as soon as the sample starts evening out, you start seeing, or getting larger, you see the numbers start evening out. So I like Austin Riley. I like Matt Olson, and I like Ellie De La Cruz and Jonathan India. Now, they get JP France for the Astros,
Yeah,
and JP France, we've talked about a bunch. He is a very big reverse splits pitcher. He
yeah.
is really, really bad against right-handed bats, and that has not changed at all. So, the De La Cruz thing is a little scary because
So flip around.
he'll bat lefty, and France really actually has been like weirdly dominant against that split
Yeah,
specifically. And, that's scary, right?
yeah,
But
yeah. But I mean, India, Steer, McLean,
right.
Stevenson, like there's a whole lot of righties in that lineup.
A lot of right-handed bats in this lineup. So I love India, and you've talked about it a bunch this year, where India's just been better from the right side of the dish this year, or against right-handed pitching, I should say. And then my last name, another guy you gave a shout to on Thursday stream coming around, is Carlos Correa, and
Yeah,
and Carlos Correa had another good game on Thursday. Now hits in what, 7 straight games, and a lot of
yeah,
extra base hits too. Like, maybe we're starting to get a healthy version of Carlos Correa, because he's never been this bad, John. Like, he
no,
is bad. He had largely been terrible for the last I mean, until this last 7-game stretch.
Yeah, I listen. He's starting to come around a little bit. I don't mind that. I think there's some potential for him against lefties, as we talked about here, and can certainly go there. I still like the Rays again. Darvish, as we've talked about, has been hittable,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you have him here against a Rays team that hammers everybody. Lefties, righties, doesn't matter. So Yandy Diaz is up top. Luke Raley, we know, has some value. Wander's there. Taylor Walls, though he hits lefties far better, like he'll be in the lineup.
Yep.
There's just a lot of guys in Tampa Bay at all different pricing levels here that I'm going to be in on against you, Darvish, on this slate.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we were in on a much worse offense than Tampa. We are touting the Guardians, not Tampa, the Guardians.
Yeah, I know, right?
So Tampa. I think you could play any of these Tampa guys. Now Walls has been like really really bad. I guess hits in 5 of his last 6 are starting to come around. So I guess there's a case to be made there.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one. There's just kind of looking down the list there. We like a lot of pitchers. There's some good top end pitching on this slate, so there's not a ton of like obvious targets here. Abbott's kind of interesting though because I have used him on some slates.
Yes.
I don't know if I used him on this slate though. So I may be looking at Houston as well as a stack against him.
I guess we've talked about this a bunch this year. Houston has not been the same team against left-handed pitching this year from the start of the year until now. And I know they have some hot hitters. Chas McCormick, another multi-hit game on Thursday. Abreu had been really hot coming into Thursday's game, but Bregman has been worse against lefties. Altuve has been worse against lefties. They don't have Jordan. And Mackenzie Gore shut him out for 5 2/3 or 6 2/3, whatever they let Mackenzie Gore go. I don't know. Maybe Abbott is a sneaky play on a 14-game slate.
He could be. He could be a sneaky play. You think so?
I don't know. Houston hasn't been the same team against lefties this year, so I don't know. It's a better ballpark.
Constantly coming around. I mean, listen, Jose Abreu is still cheap at 3,100. Sure. Altuve, I know you mentioned the splits are different. Dubon's there. Their outfielders and Myers and Chas have some power. So I just think that could be an interesting spot. Any other values for you in the infield?
Values. Yeah, Donovan Solano, if they're going to lead him off against a lefty again, he homered, 3-run home run. Shout out to our boy Mark Pitts there in chat mentioning Donovan Solano. Congrats on the win, John, as you hit a nice little bet on the thanks to Kyber Ruiz there.
Yeah, Kyber Ruiz home run. Give the money line Washington bet at plus 170 a win. It's nice.
You know what? Take the wins. Take the wins. But yeah, how about Donovan Solano, who's kind of rolling right now? Had a 2,400. We're gonna face a lefty again. Probably leads off again, and I'll go Royce Lewis in the same game. I didn't like the Twins all that much on Thursday, and you know what? You and I are big Twins believers here, and it worked out for me because I played Matt Boyd, and he's like the second highest, or I think the highest scoring pitcher on tonight's slate thus far.
Right, just because of the strikeouts. We'll see.
Strikeouts.
As of now, as we're recording, obviously there's still some games.
Dylan Cease is starting off really, really hot, and there's some right. I'm just saying, like, I'm going back to the Twins against a lefty here, and I don't care who knows it.
That's fair. Let's go on over then to the outfield. I talk about our favorite outfielders on the slate. Again, a lot of top end talent here. So where are we going?
I mean, we're going to Ohtani if he plays. Number one, first and foremost, will Shohei play? You've pointed it out a few times this year. Sometimes he doesn't play after days he pitches, right? So TBD on Shohei Ohtani. And if
literally is homered in every game except for the ones I played him. So,
he has been on an absolute different planet. No doubt about it. He's been the best hitter in baseball, which is insane because he goes through stretches where he looks like the best pitcher in baseball as well, and that's unfair. Definitely Ohtani if he plays. 22nd home run. I love George Springer getting the lefty here. And Nick Castellanos would be my other top outfielder. He also gets a lefty. Nothing like you can obviously play Acuna. I'm not going to sit here and
Sure.
like,
I'm
yes,
playing Corbin Carroll. Tristan McKenzie looked great in his first start and was shelled in his second start.
yes, yes.
And you mean Corbin Carroll obviously didn't, 0 for 4 finally in that game against Philly, but before that, like nobody was
Got him
getting
out.
Corbin Carroll out of a
Yeah.
baseball game. So love Corbin Carroll at $5,400. I think he's going to be one of my favorite plays there. If you want to play a home run, Colin, maybe tomorrow when you do a tweet, I mean, Schwarber against Sears, right? Like,
Yeah.
he does hit for a lot of power, and Sears gives up home runs. So
Yep.
I do think that Schwarber maybe as a one-off home run dong could be a play there up at the top. There's some interest for me on that level. Nobody's going to play the Blue Jays again because they just never do. But you have Springer at 49 against Martin Perez that I think has some interesting upside there as well. So I like Blue Jays. I like Arizona because, again, I don't know what McKenzie's going to show up. And sometimes name value, people won't go up against McKenzie. He's only 2 starts back from injury, right? So, and one of them was good, and one of them was very good, and one of them was very bad. So, and Arizona's been one of the better offenses in baseball here for a little bit. So, that's where I'm going at the top.
I agree.
When you're going into the mid-tier range, which names stand out to you on this evening?
I like Braves, Marcelo Zuna, and Eddie Rosario both hitting righties really well. Randall Grichuk and Jurickson Profar, I think you can get to either guy there. They face lefties. Jack Sawinski, if there's a righty on the mound, there's obligatory Jack
Double
Sawinski
dong the
shout
other
out.
day, yeah.
He has so many double home run games this year. It's sick. And then Jordan Walker, who has, since he gotten called up, Jordan Walker's raking. And unfortunately for Jordan Walker, nobody else on his team is raking or even hitting for that matter. But like, look at the game logs for Jordan Walker. I mean, this is how he started his career, where he gets hits in every game. Well, he has like a 9-game hitting streak, bunch of extra base hits. He's back to hitting 290, and the last time we saw Tyler McGill on the mound, he gave up 7 earned in three innings, and he's kind of been terrible all year long. I mean, 5.14 ERA. He's had a couple good starts, but like 3 of his last 4 starts, he's allowed 4 earned or more. He's allowed 8 base runners or more. So I love Jordan Walker here in the value tier.
It's a good value one. How are we approaching the Giants outfield here with Matt Andriese? Question mark? Maybe
that's.
It's debatable, right? We don't know.
Yeah, no, there's nothing official. I saw something that the Dodgers minor league affiliate was Gavin Stone was scheduled to pitch, and their game got canceled. So there's obviously speculation that he could
Gavin
pitch.
Stone wasn't any good when he was up here.
He was not. I'm just suggesting like the Dodgers have not announced anything on the Friday front at the time that you and I are recording.
If they call up Gavin Stone, as we're looking here, he had a 14 ERA and he allowed 16 earned runs in 3 appearances.
Not great, Bob. Not great.
If he ends up being the one, or if it is Matt Andriese, I mean, Giants got to be in play, right?
Yeah. I mean, we would circle back to the infield too. Thairo Rashada, Lamonte Wade. Yeah, I mean, they would all firmly be back in play too.
Conforto here at $4,200. You had, where was he down here? Yaz is 36. They called up their top outfield prospect.
Yeah, Luis Matos. He hit second in his debut.
$2,600 here. I mean,
yeah,
he
has power. He is a power and speed guy, and I think we're just gonna see him permanently because the Haniger. The unfortunate Haniger.
Broke his arm. Yeah. So listen, I think that the Giants outfield here could be super interesting, really, regardless of who the Dodgers are taking to the mound. So
yeah, and Jock Jams has been better than almost all of them too.
Right.
He has like a 400 average
for him every now and then though, which is the
frustrating
part. But he did double dong 4 for 4, 4 runs and 2 homers against his former club there. So. I like that. I like that call. I think that's probably where I'm going to be looking at here in the outfield. Guys you've mentioned, I like the Giants value there. Just kind of like scrolling through and see if there's any other misprices. Again, this is our first look. We didn't talk much Boston. Thoughts on Herman here? against the Red Sox in Boston? We know their
Um,
offense kind of ticks up a little bit.
yeah, Herman's been good, weirdly good. I don't
With
know
or
if
without
he's
the sticky stuff,
yeah. I mean, that's TBD. We don't know if and when he's on the sticky stuff, but he's
Yeah,
been good. Like for what it's worth. I mean, he pitched 6 innings against Boston in
yeah.
their last series. He was the only one that beat you guys. Start before 1 inning or 6 2/3, 1 run against the Dodgers. So he's been pretty good. I'm not gonna get to him at 99, but also he hasn't done he hasn't had a lot of bad outings to like stack against.
You liked Edward Olivares against the lefties, didn't you?
Yeah,
Patrick
he has good
Sandoval
numbers.
here?
Yeah, he has good numbers against lefties. I mean, I like the Royals against lefties in general. They
Right.
do hit lefties. Bobby Witt is someone who hits lefties extremely well. Olivares hits lefties really well. I could see myself getting to him. Sandoval's been good, not great this
Sure.
year. So if you want to get to Olivares, that's okay.
All right. Before we make our lineup, give us your home run call of the evening.
Home run call if Ohtani plays, it's Ohtani.
Okay. I'm gonna go Schwarber.
Okay.
I think he gets this here. So I'm gonna go Kyle Schwarber for my home run call. Give me your top stack.
Braves.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to argue against Colorado there, right?
Yeah, Lamet on the mound.
Yeah, you like Braves. I'm gonna go Giants here as my value contrarian stack
Okay.
against whomever is going to be pitching for the Dodgers.
Okay.
So we can pair up the Braves with the Giants. There's definitely enough value to get that combo in place. Who's your value play of the night?
Value play is going to be Royce Lewis or Donovan Solano. I like the Twins a lot. They're my contrarian stack.
Okay. I'll go with the Giants outfielder, Mateos, that got called up there. $2,600. Guy said he hit second. So
yeah, he hit second. Yeah, hit second in his debut.
So that's where I'm going to go here for value. Let's quickly build a lineup for the folks at home before we close out the show. Where are we heading in pitching? We kind of liked Rich Hill at 67. Didn't we go in on that?
Yeah, want to go Hill Kopech?
Hill Kopech. I'm in. Hill and Kopech, 42.50 a play. Excuse me, to finish it out here. Where are we targeting that catcher? Did you have a favorite catcher? Connor Wong versus a righty in Fenway there?
It's Connor Wong, Matt Tice
against Singer. Tice
yeah,
against
Matt
Singer?
Tice, yeah.
We'll plug that one in there for now. First base for you.
Matt Olson. We can spend up on Olson.
Yeah, we can
I know he's very expensive, but it's also going to be, I really want to get Ohtani, and you want to get Schwarber, so we'll have to.
Yeah, we don't have to get Schwarber. We can. I got Mateos in here. You wanted Ohtani. We'll see what the lineup can look like with Schwarber, too. Schwarber. So we got 3,500 for second, third, and short, if this is the direction that we wanted to go. Again, we don't have to go.
Bryce Lewis.
Yeah. Bryce at third. Yeah. Do we have a value second base play here?
You could play Kyle Farmer at either second or third. He gets a lefty in Tyler Alexander.
Yeah, I like that. And then shortstop, it's 4,500 to play. Let's see. Correa,
yeah.
There you go. We got 3 twins. Twin stack in. Mark, close your eyes. We got twin stack here. So that's a look at our example lineup here put together just based off of our initial conversations on this 14-game slate. We'll have a full playbook out for everybody. James and I will also be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern. Quickly, more importantly, before we get out of here, everybody, the Fantasy Football Draft Guide is now live on site. If you have a subscription already, you get it free. If you don't, you can buy it by itself for $26.99, or you can sign up for free. Go to fantasy.com/allpro, and you can get a subscription with a free 7-day trial. And the draft guide is included, and that is a living draft guide. It's updated on site throughout the offseason, all the late breaking news that is not a physical hard copy, because those things go out of date, and you don't want old information when you're preparing to dominate your fantasy football drafts. James and I will be back here live 5 o'clock.